We're live at the Will Studios once again, drawing the old comic book. So I spent today, I was assessing where we're at. I'm going to be putting in, let me turn on my light. I'm going to be doing the lettering here pretty soon. By pretty soon, I mean tomorrow morning, possibly tonight. Do I want to do this two-tone? Because I already decided the way I had it before, like this, where I had it kind of painted, airbrushed, I don't want to do that. And this was very slapdash, done, because I had already resigned myself at this point to the fact that my current best is not very polished, is what it is. I'll keep working at that, but I'm determined to have something out there for people to read, so that I can talk about it. Anywho. So that's where I was thinking about doing it sort of cell shaded in a way, two-tone. But what if I just do it black and white? I should at least try. Right? Let's try it out, So I think what I'll do is I'll select Dude, the two-tone might be the way to go, though. Let me do this. Let me just do this panel. I'll try to hash it out. I'm at a stage where something has to be produced, I have to find the final pieces to this puzzle I've been putting together. So, I've been doing pretty good lately, progress-wise, I think. I fucking hate it, dude. Honestly. Let's just go back to what I had going on here. And I'll put in some white. It'll be good. But anyway, I've been mostly just watching streams and drawing. And not streaming myself too much. I mean, I don't have any followers anyway. I have one person that comes around. And that might just be me, who knows. And it's really just because nobody knows me. I don't promote myself. Nobody even finds the stream. Like, I didn't even bother tweeting about this particular stream. I tweeted, like, the first 2 times that I was streaming. And I have, like, 36 followers on Twitter. So, one of them might have seen it. But you gotta stream to 0 people before you stream to 100. Right? But I've been watching other people's streams. I randomly went over into Frog Tony's stream. And he's like a newer Comicsgate guy he's writing a little frog comic. I think it's gonna be something. It's gonna be some. I don't know. I've seen cartoons of a frog in a superhero costume. That's all I got to go on with that. I don't want to say if I'm going to buy it or not, because I probably won't. Unless I see something about it that gives me an expectation of some kind. And maybe when it's closer to because it's still in production. When it's closer to being done, you know, maybe I'll see a trailer or something, or someone will say something about it. Be like, you know, if it's $5 for a digital copy or something. Because I bought Richard Embry's book because it was $5 and because we had an interaction. Because I wasn't going to get it at first because the first 5 pages were out there and it didn't grab me, right? But then he assured me it was good personally. So, okay, I went ahead and got it, and it needed seasoning, you know? It was just it wasn't good. I don't want to beat anybody up over any of this stuff. But it is what it is. But anyway, I stumbled into Frog Tony's stream, and they were talking to somebody who was apparently very vocally on Twitter calling it out, because I didn't. I made a video about it that got a whole 11 views, right? I tagged him in one post about it, and that was it. And the post didn't even say it. It just says, hey, or it says, I reviewed Blood and the Sword by Richard Embry. It's available now. Pick it up for $5 or whatever. Like, you know. I didn't dissuade anyone from purchasing the book. Except if you watch the video and then you see it's like, okay, there's nothing really here for anybody. Like, it's very bland. It's very bland, and it needs, if you're writing a story, your story needs something. There needs to be something interesting happening in the story that gets the reader's attention, right? Richard is actively on Twitter going after Eric July retards, because Eric July puts out a shit book and makes a ton of money off of it. Richard's book, I will say, I think it's a little bit better than ISOM. It was much shorter than ISOM. ISOM was just terrible. ISOM had much higher hopes for it. Like when I first read it, it was before people were really talking about how bad it was. Yeah, and people will endorse things that are terrible. It just is what it is. Frog Tony was talking to this guy, Bat Sauce, who I had never seen Bat Sauce before. But apparently Bat Sauce had a lot of the same opinions I did coming away from after reading, after his read through of Blood and the Sword, where it's like there's not nearly enough blood. The action is incredibly bland. It's like, this is... It's like somebody thinks that the 1960s Batman show holds up and is like good enough for its action sequences. It's like, like, I don't know. It's like, does anybody watch the action scenes in the original Star Trek and are like on the edge of their seat? That's how it felt with the Blood and the Sword. It was very cheesy. It was very, you didn't ever feel any stakes, really. There weren't any. All the dialogue was very basic. None of the dialogue really gave you, the reader, a feeling that you were in another place. It could have been any generic fantasy land. And that's, When Bat Sauce was talking about how he wanted more, and then Frog Tony starts in with this, oh, well, that means you must have liked some of it, right? Because you want more. And it's like, there's two types of wanting more, all right? There is the type where it's like, oh, this is really good food, I want more. And then there's the type which is the case with Blood and the Sword, where it's like, there was not enough meat on the plate. And if you want me to care about this, I need more. You know what I mean? Just off the top of without going back and rereading the comic book, because I haven't read it since I reviewed it. There was the scene where the girl's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. What was the guy's name again? Anyway, the main character and the girl meet, and they give a very generic, like, haven't seen you in a while. And, the dialogue, every time somebody speaks, it's an opportunity to convey some information about the world. And so she could have easily said, like, I didn't expect you to survive that blah blah blah, or I don't expect you to see you this far east, or because that would at least give you some idea of where you are geographically, or this far east of the something, bring up a mountain range. Do you have any cool mountain ranges? Dig into, because as the writer you should know how they met, what their history is, right? For this scene, just pick something up and give us a breadcrumb. You know what I mean? Put a crumb on the plate. That's what I'm talking about when I say give us something to eat. So when she bumps into him, something about their past, put it into the dialogue so that I can eat that up and get to know these people. And then we could have more interesting dialogue later on instead of the bland dialogue. But it's like this Frog Tony person who I am subscribed to him. I've seen him on a couple of streams. He doesn't like Eric July, and who does? You know? I've decided not to spend too much time on Eric July because he's already getting plenty of coverage. I'm late on that boat, and I have no personal stake in it, you know. I haven't put out my book yet. Once I put out my book, then the drama can come my way. If Richard Embry takes umbrage with what I say, you know, hey, I'm grateful for the drama. I welcome it because I stand by everything I say, and I'm not even being mean. I'm just saying what it is. People are giving him a hard time over the unicorn ending, and I said the unicorn was lame. So I go into Frog Tony's stream, and they're going at they're talking to Bat Sauce, and Bat Sauce is pointing out all the things that I'm saying. All the things that I said in my own review, which I'm debating on if I should tighten it up and write a better review. And Katie Did comes in, and I like Kate. You know, I like all these people. For the most part, I like all these people. Katie Did, I think I heard her say that Richard wrote The Blood and the Sword with his 6-year-old daughter. And if that's the case, now I'm not like, I'm just a little disappointed because I was sold on a book that I thought that a grown man conceived an idea, wrote it down, and paid an artist to produce a comic book. And that's apparently it's a daddy-daughter project, which I'm not bothered. I'm not going to read the second issue. I've already decided I'm not going to read the second issue. If Richard Embry comes up with a new idea, I will read that idea. I will give him $5 more, and I'll give him another chance to impress me. I hope he likes Release. I think everyone should. And I think the two-tone is the way to go, because I think it'll be easier. And I gotta sew this up in 2 weeks. I selected that stuff. But anyway, I said the unicorn was lame. And I'm like, we could have used a freaking... Because the whole thing is... Valen, the main character, is off with his lizard buddy. And he owes his lizard buddy some money over some debt that we don't really get any details for. And then he assaults a king's representative and gets caught up in their quest to retrieve the king's prized unicorn. Like, that's the story of The Blood and the Sword. And yeah, I was disappointed. What the hell's going on? Sometimes. I just don't think Frog Tony's making a serious book. Just based on the pictures of the cartoon frog that I've seen and his general attitude, you know, like he has like the attitude of like a radio, like a podcast host. I don't know if he's like got a story he's just got to tell, you know. But we'll see. We'll see if he sees this and comes after me. We'll see if he reads release and it's like, you know what, I get it. You're right. You're right. Because eventually I think everyone's going to come around. You know? Even if they don't right away, even if I rub some of these people the wrong way, eventually they're going to come around. Eventually Richard is going to be like, hey, can I like run a script by you for Blood and the Sword? Because it would be nice if I could have a good comic book to sell people and to talk about, so that I can continue to talk shit on Eric July with a clear conscience. I just don't think anyone else is slinging the heat I am. You know? I'll just say it. And I knew before because I said I already read the first 5 pages. I kind of already had a feel for what I was getting into. People are going to read the first 12 to 16 pages, I think. I want to have just as many of them done as I can before Baltimore, because I'm going to Baltimore. I'm going to Baltimore Comic-Con. And that's going to be a ton of fun. I found out Ethan Van Sciver's going to be over there, so hopefully I get to see him, talk to him again. I haven't seen Ethan Van Sciver since 2005, when I was just a lad, and he drew me a Kilowog. And I waited in line for him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. A little boy spoke on the man on the moon. But it should be a fun trip. I'll be visiting family in Northern Virginia for like 10 days. Then I'm going to swing up through Baltimore for Friday, Saturday. I'm not going to be in any costume. Maybe. Probably. I wish I had my old costumes. I could like pop one of those on. Be like, still fits. Still the best looking Robin here. My Robin cosplay was so good, people thought that I was hired by DC. Because I looked the part so much. My boyish good looks. My athletic build. They thought I was the Robin, and they wouldn't be far off. Very athletic, very acrobatic, very flexible. He looked longingly at the chat, just stared at it for a moment, looked at that number, looked at that 0 number. And he thought, someday it's going to be higher than that. Someday it's going to be just out of nowhere. I think once I get out there to Baltimore and I start meeting people, and I'm going to be giving people my streaming information, and it would help if I had more videos. Those are coming. Bleh. But I'm going to be talking to people while I'm there. I'm going to say, look, check out this first, however many pages I get done between now and then. What do you think? Come check me out. I do it live on YouTube. I draw this all. I'm not AI because I'm doing it live on the YouTube. I'll say, are you gay? I'm like, no. I'm like, too bad. What do you mean, too bad? Would have helped if you were gay. I actually had someone say that to me one time, because, I bring it up to people, I'm a bartender. And sometimes I get people who are like, oh, I work at the museum, or I, help promote local artists. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm a local artist. I don't have anything, I'm working on something currently. Because this was 2 years ago. Before I had started a Twitter. Before I really I was in the process of cultivating the correct attitude and the correct workflow and sort of figuring everything out back then. But he's like, he asked me, do any of my stories involve LGBT themes? I'm like, nah. That's what he was looking for. He was looking for a book he could put on the shelf that would really get all those young gay kids to be like, I'm powerful, But that's not what I'm giving people. I'm sorry. But I think gays would enjoy this. I think gays would enjoy release. There's stuff in here for them to enjoy. Good physiques, I'm trying to really think through the clothing that people are wearing. Because that's tough, man. Honestly. Being an artist and teaching myself how to draw. Teaching myself how to be an artist from, being a doodler my whole life. drawing a city scene and then just being like, so what are people wearing? Just coming up blank. Having to figure that out. I don't have to stream for very long. But yeah, I'm going to enhance the blacks up here. Like, just add some weight around. This is one of the only like close-ups of the android's face. It's just right at the beginning. But it was kind of fun having Tony read my super chats. Because I wasn't sending him super chats or nothing. Or just chats. I was just doing normal chats. But I was chiming in on behalf of Young Bat Sauce. And he read them aloud. Could have ignored. I'm dozing off. It's been a long day already. I know 0 people have watched this just yet, but to the future viewers who may have come back and turned this on and forgotten it was still on while it was one of the long silent periods. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. And swing harder, Richard. Damn it. Don't freaking tell your friends not to give me shit for expecting more.